be doing the things with the money with
Be him.
is Chris.
I understand.
Yes.
That's why the number was what it was, Jessica. That way, it's like, hey, I'm sorry I'm leaving, but the house is paid off and student loans is paid off, and I would have roughly $100K to play with after that, to start over with.
That's not enough to play and start over with in this economy.
What am I gonna do? I don't have anybody to do it with. I'm not gonna be doing fun things anymore.
I would at least, if I had to, like if there was a Gundam, like, I don't know. I don't want to live in a world without him. Does that make me
No, that makes
loser?
sense. I don't want to live in a world without mine either. But in this hypothetical that we're poised with, I have to. So like, listen, it's fine.
I love the question of the day.
Just because I know people going through it, man.
My answer was, I am about to crash out on a second. So we haven't even really spoken before the show. We got sucked into Cosby Show history.
Before 4:50, everybody in my house is up by about 4:50, 4:55.
Okay.
So we'll say before 5.
Okay.
Between my wife and a couple of other friends, going through it. Like, yo, I'm at work right now. I don't know why. Feeling like crying right now. So I just figured if 3 people in my life,
Out of
4
4.
including you,
Out of 4.
are going through it, just be good to just check in and see, just, hey people, how y'all doing today? What was the song?
Oh, I think we have a new front runner for delete.
Here we go.
I have to get specific on this. It is the Super Chumbo, Super Freako remix to Get Your Freak On. But I have 4 other versions of Get Your Freak On.
I didn't know there were 4 versions of Get Your Freak On.
Let me tell you, this one is not the one for me. It starts with like 90 straight seconds of dun 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 dun, and I felt like I was going crazy.
I hope she does it at Riverbeat.
I felt like, well, I hope she does the song, but I hope she doesn't do the Super Chumbo, Super Freako version of Super Freak-Off. What's up, everybody? It is Friday, February 21st. It is going to be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. CJ Hurt behind the glass coming up on today's show. A disappointing night for the Grizzlies coming out of the All-Star break, taking a loss to the Pacers. They are back in action tonight against the Orlando Magic. Canada is the 4 Nations Faceoff champion. Whitaker will join us about 20 minutes in. We'll get into all of that with him, plus some stories from around the sports world. Yesterday, we'll do Music Friday, some Drake, Lady Gaga, new Mike Posner, new Now. It's a Friday. You know what we say.
Nago. 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 Nago.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
If you go to a hustle game, you're going to see a very fast-paced game. A lot of action, both offensively, defensively.
Nice rejection right there.
In a great environment at the Lander Center. You could bring family there, kids are running around.
Down the lane and 1 for Zion Poland.
And then you're going to see a lot of talented basketball players competing at a high level.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
They say main event Jey Uso was going to open the show. So they said they're starting to hear rumbles around the plaza level of Jey Uso. They're getting the crowd together to build up the main event Jey Uso entrance. Hey. See, I can do it. Hey, 15,000 people together, yeeting in unison, 5-star. They are yeeting together.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, let's have a little fun now. I wanna let it all out. That's what it's all about. Cause I deserve this feeling, have it my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. We made it to the end of the week, much like the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm feeling a little discombobulated this morning, getting back in the groove of things. I was discombobulated last night watching a variety of programming. Quite the night of television viewing in our household last night, CJ. And the ups, the downs, the all-arounds, watching the Grizzlies off to a hot start and thinking, it's going to be an easy breezy night, to then, oopsie, that's a 50-point second quarter. That's not good. And then turning on 4 Nations Faceoff at the same time and going back and forth between these two. And then the Grizzlies lose, and when the Grizzlies lost, I felt like I needed a stiff drink, but I don't really like to drink during the week. So you want to know what the second best thing to a stiff drink is, CJ? It's a trip to the Pit.
Okay.
It's a trip to the Pit.
All right.
And listen, we're going to take one quick Pit detour.
I love
before we
taking a
get to the
detour.
important things.
I don't think it's anything more important. What time is it in the Pit?
2 o'clock. And
2
when I tell
p.m..
you, no spoilers.
2 p.m.
I am being true to no spoilers.
Okay, 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
So,
For those who are unaware, The Pit is a TV show on Max that follows one single day in an ER called The Pit because it's in Pittsburgh.
I would assume that all the really weird stuff happened at night / early in the morning.
You would be wrong.
No.
It just keeps getting
worse. It just
worse.
keeps happening.
Well, maybe you say crazy stuff. Now, it's just got real. When I tell you, I think that was the saddest episode of television that I have watched. Here I was looking for reprieve. I wanted just the absurdity of a million billion things happening in the Pit. And instead, I was met with absolute sadness and sorrow. So coming off of the Grizzlies' stinky stanker stunker loss, I cried. and my husband cried. Me and Chris both cried watching The Pit last night. If you're familiar with what an honor walk is.
What is that where? When you donate your organs?
Yes.
Oh, so the OD person ended up donating organs.
Spoiler alert.
Well, you brought it up.
Well, it could have been anyone in the Pit.
I'm
There's a million people dying on this show.
I feel like I'm watching The Pit with you. You
We're
talk
all
about it so
watching
much.
The Pit, but that's not that. That was sad, but that was actually like just the cherry on top of sadness. We don't do cherries on top of sadness. That was like the.
What's the saddest fruit you can think of?
Oh God.
Olive?
And olive's a fruit.
I think
Yeah, 'cause
olives
it has
are
a
fruit.
pit, I guess.
Olives?
No, I think of olives as joy because then like olives,
In
I
martinis?
love olives in martinis, but
Okay.
I also I love an olive bar at a grocery store. It's a strange thing about me. The saddest fruit.
Yeah.
It's like a grapefruit for breakfast.
With
'Cause, like, the
toothpaste,
ultimate-
right after
yeah.
you brush your teeth.
Yeah.
So any citrusy
And you're only
thing-
eating grapefruit
Got you.
for breakfast if you're trying to lose weight, and that's like that's just sad.
Got you. Okay.
So anyway.
So it's the grapefruit
It's
on
the
top.
grapefruit on top of
Gotcha.
a really sad, just despondent episode of television.
What made you think? I asked this genuinely.
Yes.
What made you think? Hey, you know what I need? I need to pick me up. That was a rough game, particularly that second quarter where they gave up all of the fast break points and allowed the Pacers to score 50 points in a quarter. I'm sad, despondent. I need something to cheer me up. The Pitt will do it.
Well, I get
what about the Pitt makes you happy? The show
just
about the
love this
school
show.
shooter and the overdosing and the random things being stuck in people's forearms or foreheads, wherever we're sticking these
A lot
things
of heart
these
attacks.
days. The heart attacks.
Miscarriages.
Oh, I forgot about the abortion thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like, what about that show screams happiness to you in that moment?
That's a great question, CJ. I just get really excited when a new episode of The Pit drops. And
Okay.
I was like, this is gonna do it. Because our options were The Pit and Slow Horses. Because we didn't get a new episode of Severance until later in the evening. White Lotus is now on Sundays. Slow Horses is great, but The Pit just felt like like an
Abbott-
escape. And it was between, we were trying to squeeze something in before the third period of Four Nations Faceoff. And it worked. But my God, was it sad. But it was a sobering, I was gonna say it ended up working. Because you can't be sad about the Grizzlies. You can be sad, you can be mad, you can be frustrated, but you can't let it ruin your entire life.
No, let the Pit do that.
When you're reminded of the realities of life through a fictional television taking me to the emergency
Jessica,
room.
Was there no episode of Abbott Elementary? Was there not a new episode?
I mean, technically.
And that is shorter
Yeah, but
and
we watched
happier.
Abbott Elementary, and we could have watched another episode of Court of Gold. But those are our workout shows. You don't understand. We have couch shows and workout shows in our household, and The Pit is a couch show.
I give you all of these happy, mind-numbing TV show recommendations, knowing that you're not going to watch them until like now, when it would be perfect for you to watch one of the goofy ass shows. I say it would have been perfect for you to start an episode of The Neighborhood or to watch
You don't
St.
understand.
Dennis Medical.
We do not watch sitcoms on our couch. We watch dramas or long shows. I'm trying to think of the last like funny show we watched on our couch. Probably like Hacks.
Ted Lasso didn't get watched on the couch.
Yeah, but Ted Lasso is also. Like there's funniness in it. I don't know. Don't get into the specificities of it.
I'm
I
just
went
trying
to
to
the
find a way
I
to
went
keep
the
you
pit.
from watching
I saw
The
the light.
Pit.
I saw the light and was reminded, as all Grizzlies fans should be this morning, that one day you will die. And you should not let
Spoiler alert.
I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. One day you will die. I will die. CJ will die. Maybe a little sooner than me. I don't know though. You never know because of The Pit.
Hey, bury me with no shirt on. Midi Militia, stand up.
Forever and always. Anyway, then I came back, and then we went to overtime in the Four Nations Faceoff. But we'll get to the hockey. The hockey was not the story of the night in Memphis. It was the return of the Memphis Grizzlies coming back from the All-Star break, and it was not fun. Is it the end of the world? No. Was it a really frustrating and not fun return to basketball? Absolutely. And the way it happened was just so bizarre because the game starts. I'm barely able to get settled in to my couch. We're in the middle of, we're kind of cooking dinner. Chris is folding some laundry. I'm watching it in the living room. It's 12-2. It sounds like a Zach Edey home game as all of the fans in Indiana are there to support him and cheer for him. And I guess there's a good number of people in Indianapolis who also cheer for Desmond Bane because that's where he grew up. But the cheers are coming through the screen, and I'm like, easy peasy. This is why I felt so confident when we were doing the Phil Jackson 40-20 rule that all contenders, or in order to be dubbed a true contender in the NBA, you have to get to 40 wins before you get to 20 losses. The Celtics became another one of those last night, joining the Thunder and the Cavs. The Celtics got a win, so they now have 40 wins on the year. The Grizzlies will have to work a little harder to achieve that status because after getting out to a 12-2 start, they went up by 13. They were still up at the end of the first quarter. It was tied 51-51 in the second quarter. 51-51. So what do you think the score was at halftime? It was 78-59. To go from 51-51 to 78-59. I am not good at the maths, as we have established, but that is a 27-8 run, and it was a part of watching the Grizzlies give up a 50-point second quarter, and that just can't happen. Like, sometimes it's that simple. Like, you cannot give up a 50-point second quarter. The defense was absent. The Pacers were getting anything and everything that they wanted, and then you have a situation where even when the Grizzlies come climbing back, you're down 19, and you continue to look at the score throughout the third quarter. You're like, well, now it's at 11, it's 9. They get all the way down to 4, but you're out of gas. Like, it just becomes too big of a mountain to climb. Funny enough, the biggest comeback of the season for the Grizzlies was the first go-around with the Pacers, where they went down 19, and they came back and won that game by, I believe, double digits. That wasn't the case last night, and it was just, it was a tough effort coming out of All-Star break. The first game out of All-Star break can be weird for certain teams. It's getting your chemistry back together. It's getting back into the groove of things. But it doesn't take away from the fact that it was a disappointing start.
Was that an effort thing to you?
I don't know. Perhaps we could learn how to get a defensive rebound.
How did they, were they out-rebounded? Because watching the game, it didn't feel like they were outside. Take that quarter away. Take the 50-point quarter away.
No, it was even.
It didn't feel like they were turning the ball over at an extremely high rate. No. It didn't feel like they were giving up a ton of offensive rebounds or anything like that. That quarter pops off, and that the Pacers end up with 28 fast break points, and I feel like, I know I'm wrong, but it felt like they got all 28 of them in that quarter where dudes just weren't getting back for whatever reason. And so I just don't know. That's a weird way to lose a game this late into the season if you're a team like the Grizzlies, who's supposed to be pretty good.
And coming off rest.
They started the game well.
Because honestly, like, I looked at that game last night, and people aren't going to want to hear this. Like, I'm not blaming the refs. I'm not blaming rotations. You can't blame turnovers. The Grizzlies only had 13, which for them is on the lower side. Like you said, ultimately the rebounding numbers are even, 46-46 rebounding. Grizzlies had more offensive rebounds than the Pacers had last night. It was just a 50-point second quarter.
Yeah.
And it was a really awful showing defensively. And it got better. And I think you can at least appreciate that it wasn't a 40-point loss, because it felt like it could be on the way to that. And even going into last night's game, a lot of similarities between these two teams offensively. But what you thought the difference maker would be the Grizzlies' defense. And instead, it was their detriment. And
they cut it to what?
4.
4? And then just ran out of gas.
And then Jaren picked up his 5th foul.
Yeah.
And I was at the point in that game where I was like, just keep him on the court.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's always the age-old, well, you lose if he's on the bench because he's in foul trouble, or you lose because he fouls out. With a game tonight in Orlando and of this back-to-back set, I was a little more concerned with Orlando, not because they're playing particularly well. The Pacers aren't a bad team. They're a good team. The Grizzlies are perceived to be a better team than what they showed last night, and I thought they would be able to outrun, be able to lead on their depth late in the game against the Pacers, and if it had been closer, perhaps they could have, but you fall down so big, it's just impossible to come back. Now you face a Magic team that has those characteristics, and they're still dealing with some injuries. Jalen Suggs hasn't played in a minute, but they have Banchero back, they have Wagner back, and the length and physicality of which the Magic can throw at the Grizzlies has been something that they have struggled with, and now you have to win tonight. You don't want to lose 3 games in a row. This was the first time, if you add the loss to the Clippers going into the All-Star break, first back-to-back losses for the Grizzlies since the very beginning of 2025. I think it was the first week of January, that end of the West Coast road trip. So they had gone a substantial period of time where they'd done a very good job bouncing back from losses immediately. That's not the case. You don't want to go into a 3-game losing streak, especially with the Denver Nuggets, who they play tonight, I believe. Did they play tonight? Where did I see? Or maybe it's over the weekend.
They played last night.
They played last night, and then they play the Lakers over the weekend is what it is. But the Nuggets took over the 2nd spot. That's how easy it happens. You give up a 50-point quarter, and this time of year and in the crowded Western Conference, it's the difference between a 2 seed and a 3 seed, and ultimately that can make a big difference down the stretch. I was really hoping to see a revived Ja Morant last night, and we did not get that. It is also hard to win games. It's not impossible to win games, but when your superstar point guard has 12 points on 4 of 15 shooting, has 5 turnovers to 6 assists, he started in super aggressor mode last night. Like when they are making that run early, I was like, oh yeah, here we go. This is what it's going to be all about. And then it devolved into being frustrated about lack of calls. And there were some possessions where I said, surely that's a foul. Even, I always weigh it on how my Warriors fan husband reacts to calls or lack of calls on the Grizzlies. And when he is yelling on the couch next to me, you're not going to call a foul on that. It validates how I am viewing the game at that point. But you can't use that as an excuse. And the clip, or one of the highlights that I guess goes viral last night, is the Nembhard steal and transition bucket where he fakes and Ja goes flying, and that's what they're highlighting. But if you go back to it, the reason the steal happened was because Ja's back is to the basket and he's trying to talk to the ref, and then Nembhard takes the ball from him. And it was frustrating to see. He seems frustrated. Listening to him after the game, he's frustrated.
Don't care.
I know.
That's an example of the season for him, right? I want to talk to the ref. Meanwhile, you're not doing your job. It's too late in the season for it. You're not getting calls. Play through it. Does it suck you not getting calls? Sure. Should somebody call the foul? Absolutely. But they're not. I don't care. Play through it. Find some other way to get your shot off. Find some other way to impact the game. You're too good a player to be wasted getting frustrated at refs letting them take you out of your game. You could argue, hey, if the fouls aren't being called, that's taking them out of his game. Find a different way to impact the game. Find some other thing to do outside of go to the rim and pray you get a foul call, because it's not happening for whatever reason. You guys can write to the league if you want to, as a franchise, as a coaching staff, or as a player, and say, hey, why am I not getting these calls, and see if you can come to an understanding about what you need to do to get those calls. But outside of that, that's it. You got to stop with that. It has to stop, because regular season basketball is physical enough. It's not super physical, but it's physical enough. Playoff basketball physicality is something different. So if you can't handle this type of stuff right now, what the hell is it going to be come playoff time? Like it's the time for the complaining to the rest. It's over. It's post All-Star break. You're 3/4 of the way through the season. It's time to go. If you can't handle it by now, you're not going to be able to handle it come playoffs, and that bodes very, very poorly for this team in the postseason, because you need Ja Morant to be locked in. Maybe you would love him to go back to being the scoring threat that he was. I'm not sure if you need him to be quite that, especially with how well Jaren is playing. You just need him focused on the game and not on the officials and everything else that's going on.
And there's spurts. Like, there were multiple spurts last night where I thought his defensive effort was high level. And you look at the third quarter push, I think he was responsible for 19 points between scoring and assisting in the third. And that push was awesome. But you need that for every possession that you're in. We've talked so much about Jaren and his all-NBA level season, and now we'll discuss his potential Defensive Player of the Year season with the news on Victor Wembanyama yesterday. Jaren can be the most impactful player on the team this year, but ultimately, Ja's the heartbeat guy. He is going to set the tone for this team. He does not have to lead in scoring. He oftentimes will lead in assists, because the offense should run through Ja Morant, and it should level up to a different atmosphere when he is in the game. And it's not being overly critical, it's just being honest. He did deactivate his Twitter this morning.
Stop doing that!
I knew you were gonna be mad when I said that.
It doesn't matter. Stop doing
But if it matters for him, then cool. You know what I mean? Like, you do what works for you. If I have it on my phone and it's available for me, I'm probably going to end up checking it. I don't have great willpower when it comes to the socials and on the phone. I've been trying to get my screen time to go down for 3 weeks, and thus far, it has moved just but a smidgen. So if you have to fully delete it to create something, we also found out yesterday he had a home burglarization situation back in December.
That story is crazy.
It is crazy, and we'll talk further about it later on in the show as more and more athletes continue to be targeted by people burglarizing their homes, stealing cars, etc. So you never know what someone's going through. I can't help it. That's just who I am. The empathy is always going to come at some point, but at the end of the day, this is a team that wants to make a push and be a legitimate contender in the Western Conference, and they will go as far as Ja Morant allows them to go or pushes them to go. So we will talk to Lang Whitaker about the disappointing loss for the Grizzlies last night, what it should look like tonight against the Magic in Orlando. We'll also talk Four Nations Faceoff and more with Lang when we come back.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz Beat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans and the fans pumped up.
They are standing at FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
A night of comedy with Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? You don't know where your mom is. The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
I went ziplining for the last time. What is wrong with us? Would you pay $200 to feel like you're about to die 6 times?
Live in Memphis, FedEx Forum, Friday, February 21st. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
45-minute video on Tony Allen on YouTube.
I just saw it yesterday.
He managed to dominate the NBA for 14 years, despite missing one of basketball's most important skills. But here's the crazy thing.
Why does that hurt your feelings?
It didn't hurt my feelings.
It's positive.
He at least should have more of my highlights.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What teams do you think, other than Chiefs and Eagles, are going to be teams to reckon with next season?
I think the Ravens, the 49ers, the Bills, the Lions.
I think the Falcons are going to be good next year.
Well, y'all had like 4 straight losing record seasons. So.
Yeah, the question is, can you just get 2 guys on defense? They scored 38 against the friggin' Panthers and lost the last week of the season. You got to get some stops.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. It is Friday. That means it's time to catch up with Lang Whitaker.
The Jackson Lamb of Grind City Media.
That's you.
Yeah.
That's you. Hey, welcome. I haven't seen you. You were
I was in
filling
and out
in for this.
Yeah, I was.
And then we were all off on Monday.
GP, and then the snow happened. So when you're a parent, snow days are all hands on deck. Yeah, it's pretty eventful. So.
Well, yeah, because you wake up Did you know before the morning that it was going to be a snow day?
The night before you get
did know the
we
night
got a
before.
text the night before.
That's always at least a little nicer.
Yeah, that's helpful. At least, I mean, it gives, it's more foreboding. Then you know, like you don't wake up just knowing what's, like at least you know, all right, now we got to deal with this tomorrow.
Instead, your entire day has
We only had
changed.
one day off, but apparently some of the schools were closed yesterday too.
Yes. And a couple businesses have been closed
Yeah.
through it all. The side streets, I mean, even our side street downtown is still pretty bad, but the
Yeah.
main roads are completely
The main
clean.
roads are good, yeah.
Yeah.
I drove around this morning and there was still ice on some of the streets, but it wasn't terrible.
Look out for black ice, always. It'll
Yep.
get you. The Grizzlies last night played the Pacers.
Hit some black ice in that second
They
quarter.
did. I'm sorry, CJ. That's what it's called.
Black History Month.
It's called Black Ice.
We're just gonna prejudge it, right? Know who you voted for.
No, stop. Oh, Canada. When do we start calling it black ice?
There's a Goody Mob song, Black Ice. It's one of the best Goody Mob songs.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Do we just call it black ice because it's clear ice, and when you're on pavement, which is black, it looks like
black,
the
yeah.
pavement?
So the
that's
ice,
why we call
the
it
ice
black
is
ice.
clear colored, but we're just gonna lean into the blackness.
Well,
I
the
got you.
road's black.
on Black History Month. That's cool. You guys keep defending yourselves. That's fine. I'm just
I
saying,
didn't-
like,
I didn't
Luke,
make
don't clip that.
I didn't make the roads black.
I typed in black ice history, and what came up was black ice, the lost history of the Colored Hockey League.
Oh.
So there you go.
Black ice, and you're saying colored?
It's what it's called.
Oh my!
It was the
gosh.
CHL. It was technically.
Oh my goodness, Jessica! Wow.
It was an all-black ice hockey league founded in Nova Scotia in 1894, which featured teams from across Canada's maritime provinces. There's your history of the morning.
I'm sure like all the African American guys who played in that Canada-US game last night would have something to say about this.
No, because we've been priced
No,
out
the
of it.
only one is
there were
PK
none.
Subban, and he's on every single television show on ESPN this week.
Have you seen the Black Ice skit, or do you remember the Black Ice skit from Key and Peele?
Oh, yeah.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
But the Grizzlies did
hit black ice.
Hit some ice.
Hidden ice.
Had a bumpy road.
What do
I wouldn't call it hidden ice.
What do you want to call it, CJ?
What?
Yeah, you get to rename
If we're not
it.
going to call it black ice, what are we going to call it?
You can just call it ice.
Dangerous ice?
Dangerous ice.
No, it's got to have
levels
another
on the-
name
on
than
the street.
just ice.
Just ice.
Just what do we
White
call it?
ice.
No, but it's not white either. It's clear. Like, that's the thing about this.
Clear ice.
Clear ice. Just clear ice.
Invisible
Clear
ice.
Isn't that
Invisible
implied?
ice.
Invisible ice sounds
Invisible
better.
I
ice.
like invisible ice.
Let's call it invisible ice.
Invisible
Okay.
ice. No
In
need
a
for the
different
black in
world,
there.
I feel like we could
hard
be
enough in
fired
these
just
streets.
for trying to make an initiative of changing black ice into invisible ice at
I
this
got
point.
it. I got it. DEI ice.
DE ice.
DE ice.
DE ice.
Yeah.
There we
DE
go.
ice.
There
All
it
right.
is.
That's where we all
Well, the
come
Grizzlies
back
hit some
to.
DE ice
They
last
sure
night.
did.
Yeah, in the second quarter.
That was a tough
Gave
second
up
quarter
50
to watch.
points. That was brutal. The timing was good, though, because like when the second quarter ended, you could flip over and see the start of the hockey. Like and watch the national anthems and all that stuff.
Yes.
Like the timing was
The
perfect.
pageantry of that game was
that was pretty awesome.
Really cool.
Yeah. I actually I thought a lot about that this morning though. Like so I know that the hockey and I'm just going right past the Grizzlies because that second quarter sucked. The hockey was great. The tournament was awesome for the last week. It was fun to root for teams.
Yeah.
I was actually started off rooting for Sweden. My grandfather's from
Oh,
Sweden.
me too.
And so
I was also
I have
team
a friend who's
Sweden.
Swedish. We were rooting for Sweden. And then when the U.S. made the finals, we were like, all right, let's root for the U.S. and see what happens. And now they lose. And now and I see all these things on ESPN, and they're like, how does this change hockey? Does this help hockey?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a team. I don't know what team any of those guys play for. Like, I couldn't tell you. Like, if I turn on a game tomorrow night, I saw they ran
I
a
knew the
promo.
two Avs players.
They ran a promo last night for the Minnesota Wild against somebody, and I was
Right.
like, do any of these guys play on any of these teams? I don't know.
I think a couple things. One, you can just appreciate the event itself for being awesome. In this capsule of right now, they couldn't have asked for a better moment for hockey. It doesn't have to mean any. If you can just take it away from what does this mean for hockey of the future and
Sure.
focus on last night, how many people turned on a hockey game in the middle of February who normally would not have, that's a win. And it got me thinking, one, I actually love watching hockey. Every time I end up watching it, I think how fun it is.
Even if
it's
you don't
so
know
fast.
the players and teams,
Even if you
because
don't
I
know
think
the
that's
players
what
and
made this
teams.
fun, like the context of it.
And I think that helps. And it's so easy when it's a best on best situation,
Sure.
especially when you throw in the current political climate and USA versus Canada.
Well, that was
there's
just like the
added
sprinkles on top.
intensity. It's
that-
going to matter no matter what.
Watching great players is watching great players.
Exactly.
I get that. Watching Connor McDavid fly up and down the ice is fun.
He's the best in the sport
Or
right now.
Sid
He gets a
Crosby or
game-winning
whoever.
goal
Yeah.
in overtime in what is essentially a Game 7 of a Stanley Cup styled event. You could not ask for anything more,
That was
especially
awesome.
after Connor McDavid. And to be fair, having watched the Stanley Cup run with Connor McDavid and how he was responsible for forcing the Game 7, and then to have
Was he?
this
I didn't
moment.
watch any of
He
this.
was,
Like, I don't
and so
know.
it was fun for me to be like, oh,
Right.
I watched that.
I knew this guy was
and
great.
now watching this, and,
Yeah.
or you just know that he's great, or you know a handful of names in hockey, and Connor McDavid is one of them, which is a reality as well. But it was just a good time. Like, overtime, meaningful hockey is one of the most exciting things we have in sports, which does always strike me on why doesn't it translate more here? Why aren't more people interested? Because I feel like my timeline, every time I end up watching a meaningful hockey event like last night, the sentiment is, this is awesome. But then you just leave it. It's kind of like the Olympics, which is why I don't think you necessarily need a Four Nations face-off every year, because then it gets stale. There has to be some edge to it. And you're going to have the Olympics next year, so they can't do it then. I think they talked about maybe doing it every 2 years, if I remember correctly. But just from a right now, moment in history, moment in the sport, coming off of all the mess of the NBA All-Star Weekend, it just hit at the perfect time. And sometimes we get that, and I just like to appreciate it when it happens.
Yeah, but to your question of, it doesn't have to mean more, but it kind of does. Like, so if you're hockey, Gary Bettman's just screwed up hockey for the last 2 decades. They finally do something right. Like, this is the one. This is the first time anyone's been talking about the NHL for 20 years. And so, how do they capitalize on this? Like, because I'm not going to watch the games tomorrow. I don't even know when it starts again. I'm not going to tune in. I don't care. Like, I don't. They didn't make me want to root for the Boston Bruins or whoever, the Penguins. I was actually looking at the logos last night, thinking maybe I'll just cheer for the Penguins. They have a cool logo. It's a penguin skating around. Yeah. But maybe I should root for the Nashville team because like I can actually watch those games here.
Sure.
They're on
Team
TV.
Tennessee.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, but I don't know. It did make me enough of a fan of the NHL.
Yeah.
To make me like want to buy in.
I talk about this all the time. I just don't have the bandwidth to add a whole lot for a regular schedule. Even the few games that I've watched with the Unrivaled League, the women's basketball's 3-on-3 tournament, and watching some of the one-on-one games that transpired too, I've enjoyed them greatly. It has been happenstance that I've turned on my TV and it's been a night when it's been on, and I've just happened to have 30 minutes to an hour to watch, whether it's while cooking dinner, eating dinner, just like tidying up around the house. But I'm not appointment viewing something new because I just don't have the time. I mean, this time of year for us is completely enthralled in basketball. Coming off of football, I'm watching college football at least usually Friday and Saturday. I'm watching NFL Thursday, Sunday, Monday, or whatever extra day they throw into the mix. And you get to a point where for Major League Baseball, for NHL, unless you have a diehard team that you are rooting for, you don't really have the time.
Baseball's tough because it's every night. Like, I mean, we're in the Braves because they started spring training this week. And, you know, they play 162 games. Like, and the Braves are usually on, I'd say, out of every 2 weeks, they play 13 days, something like that. So baseball is just sort of the constant for me from March until September. It's on every single night. And if you have a team, it's the best background thing in the world. Like, you just put it on and go about, you know, making dinner, everything. Oh, look, hey, somebody got a double. But hockey, like, to me, it's still, I don't know if this thing really moved the needle for me. It was awesome to watch. Yeah. It was great. It was like a great, like a Court of Gold on Netflix or whatever. Like, you watch it. Okay, now what? Now back to the weird murder mysteries.
I had a weird, and at risk of getting hung from the Big River Crossing for being a traitor and being treasonous, my experience watching the Four Nations Faceoff last night was very strange because I struggled on where I fell on my levels of patriotism. And I'm not going to say I was rooting for a good game. That's what I realized. I was like, ooh, overtime. I love overtime.
That's a cop-out.
But I'm really gripped. It sure is. I don't know what they're going to do to me at this point, but I appreciated that I have some time before the next Olympics to figure out how to get back in action. I think the news on the post office really sent me over the edge yesterday.
You know what I went down the rabbit hole
parks.
this morning, actually, was the Garden of American Heroes. Have you heard about this?
No.
So Donald Trump yesterday, President Trump, at a White House Black History Month celebration with Tiger Woods in attendance, announced that they're going to add a statue of Kobe Bryant to the Garden of American Heroes. Oh. And I was like, what is the Garden of American Heroes? So I started Googling it. And apparently at the end of his last, it's actually worth a Wikipedia look. At the end of his last term, he announced a Garden of American Heroes that's going to have 250 statues of American heroes in this garden. And then he wrote an executive order for it, went out of office. Biden canceled it immediately, and now he's revived the idea. So it's some sort of like, it almost sounds like a Disneyland type thing or Disney World, where there's going to be 250 statues of American heroes. So then I was like, well, who are the American heroes? So I started reading the list. They've announced about 240 something of them.
Ansel Adams.
Yeah.
This is in alphabetical order.
Yeah, but wait to get to the B's. I actually laughed out loud.
I'm going to go to the B's.
Samuel Adams.
Lauren Bacall.
Lauren Bacall. I'm like, oh, one of the great American heroes, Lauren Bacall. There's all sorts of random people in this thing.
Ingrid Bergman.
Babe Ruth.
Irving Berlin.
There's all
Humphrey
sorts of
Bogart. And Kobe Bryant has been added to the Wikipedia list at this point. Give me a letter, CJ, and I'll tell you who's in it from that letter.
P.
Well,
no, M.
M?
I want to know if Master P gets in there.
Oh, I don't think Master P is going to make the list. Unfortunately, we have Dolly Madison.
Okay.
And James Madison.
Yeah,
So we got a couple going in together. George C. Marshall. Thurgood Marshall.
Yeah.
William Mayo.
Invented mayonnaise.
William McKinley, another president. Louise McManus. She was the first nurse to earn a PhD.
Is Vince McMahon going in?
Herman Melville,
Please tell
author
me
of
Vince McMahon.
Moby
That'd
Dick.
be amazing.
That actually would be hysterical. Vince McMahon has not yet made the list.
His wife's in the cabinet.
Anyway,
Maybe
what an interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about the Garden of America.
Was unclear on the
Shouldn't
Garden
this be something
of
that
American
Disney's in charge
Heroes.
of? Just like put Disney in charge of this. This seems like the Hall of Presidents updated, just like random American people in this garden.
I'm cool. I would just like for the park workers to keep their jobs and not put someone in charge of oil in charge of the Bureau of Land Management. But we can just take it one step at a time.
Yeah, we have to see. It's baby steps, Jess.
I mean, wait, every president has their thing to leave behind, some sort of a legacy, right? Who did the mountains with all the presidents' faces?
Mount
Who did the Mount Rushmore?
I think that was Eisenhower.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Roll way back.
This is his Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, this is gonna be good.
Are they going to be like animatronics? Now I have a
That's what
lot
I'm
of
saying.
questions.
That's what I want. Disney.
Because we've established as a country we're horrible at making statues.
Yeah.
Like we just
Statues
saw the
are tough.
Dwayne Wade statue.
I was just thinking,
Statues are hard.
Who's going to make 250 statues? Like we can barely make one.
We don't have that many people. We haven't put enough money into the arts. We don't have great statue
I wrote
makers
a story
anymore.
for NBA.com.
They're gonna be like the drone.
Sculptures?
No, like the lighting things. Yeah.
I
like
wrote
we
a
saw at
story about
All-Star.
I interviewed the people who made the Shaq statue outside the Staples Center, or now it's called the Crypto.com Center.
Yes.
I had to interview those people, and it was a man who like kind of just does statues. But you would think now, I think we talked about this when I was hosting for you. With AI technology, with 3D printing, you'd be able to knock out these statues. My son can make a 6-inch keychain in half an hour with his phone and a 3D printer. You'd think we could make like pretty accurate statues pretty quickly.
Do you watch Severance?
Yes, I don't like it though.
I feel like we're just living in Severance.
That's why I stopped watching it. I watched 2 episodes. It was so boring.
Oh, you gotta at least get to the season finale.
No,
of season
I mean,
one.
but I got you on
You're
Slow Horses.
So I'll trade you an Apple TV show for another
I watched
Apple
2
TV
of them.
show.
I don't know if I can get past the second
Slow
one.
Horses is fantastic.
Slow Horses is the
recommend
best.
it to anyone.
Yeah.
That's what we're
I
kind
just
of
can't
stuck into
Severance.
right
I can't
now. All right, getting back to the Grizzlies,
Yeah.
if we can move past the 50-point second quarter last night, because that's all it came down to.
Yeah.
It was a 50-point second quarter.
Put Miles Turner in the Garden of American Heroes.
One of the best.
The way he played last night.
One of the best of
He was
all
the
time.
greatest.
If you just took last night's game, you would
Amazing
think.
step back, 3-point shooter.
What a time to be alive. How does the team respond tonight?
I don't know.
They haven't lost 3 games in a row all season.
Yeah, and they're good on the second half of back-to-backs. I think we're like 7-2 or something like that on the second half of back-to-backs this season. So I would hope they come out. I mean, really, if you take out that second quarter, the Grizzlies played great. That second quarter was just such a disaster. Like
Yes.
it was, and it went from a plus 11 to a minus 19 or something over that quarter. So if you take out the second quarter, and it's always the same things: turnovers, transition defense, offense gets stagnant. It just all kind of hit at one time last night. So I would hope against this Orlando team that's really been a sort of disaster since Jalen Suggs got hurt, like that they can figure some things out.
They're a really bad three-point shooting team. So you shouldn't be burned. Even if you leave open three-point shooters.
Yes.
God, let me say that and then watch the Magic have
I mean,
their
it
greatest
also
three-point
helped.
shooting
It
effort
helped
of the
that
season.
the first quarter last night, the Pacers couldn't make a shot. They
Right.
started 0 for 11 or
Yes.
something, and they were just bricking everything. But then in the second quarter, everything started going in, and you're like, oh, okay, well, yeah. So
How
hopefully
can we
tonight
get
that doesn't
Ja
happen.
Morant his groove back?
I think we saw him. You see him more and more. I noticed it a month ago. There was a game where when Ja got the ball, especially in the second half, they were running some plays from like a season ago, 2 seasons ago, where he would come down, they'd double screen, they would run the high pick and rolls, those type of things. Just stuff that I think where he's more comfortable in, and it gives him 2 guys to play against, which is, kind of his forte. There was a play last night where he got stuck under the basket and tried to throw it out and got picked off. He still has those happen sometimes, but
But then there'll be another one where he had that beautiful pass to
the
Vince
no look
Williams
to
Jr.
Vince under
Yeah.
the basket. Yeah, there's a lot of great plays where I think you're seeing him get closer to where he's feeling comfortable. And he talked about, I saw Mike Wallace posted after the game where Ja talked about, I just got to figure it out. I'm
Right.
And I think they're trying to kind of make things where it's a little more comfortable for him. I kind of thought last night might be a tough game for everybody, just coming off that long of a break. So much of this Grizzlies offense is about rhythm and sort of feel.
Right.
And you don't have that for so long. I thought last night, I was kind of surprised I got off to the start they got off to. And I thought, oh, great. And then the second quarter happened. So I hope tonight maybe they're coming off the back-to-back. Maybe that's why they've been so good on the second half of back-to-backs, because you still
Turned, ready
you're
to
in
go.
the feel of it. So hopefully tonight they're
Yeah.
able to kind of step right back into it.
Well, and Brevin even brought up the difference of starting out on the road versus starting at home. You're not in your routine. You're not with the people that you just spent some time with. You're going to your home arena. You're 4 straight games on the road and figuring that out and having to start with a back-to-back as well. No excuses. They did fall out of the 2 seed in the Western Conference last night. It will be a jockeying back and forth, it seems, with them and the Denver Nuggets moving forward. What did you think of LeBron James playing in a back-to-back at the age of 40, coming off of the All-Star break, scoring 40 points last night? But it all came after he sat out of the All-Star game at the last second because of foot soreness.
The bigger takeaway for me last night was that they barely beat a tanking Portland team.
After losing to the Hornets the
I know
night
Portland's
before.
been better like the last month or two, but I watched that Hornets game the other night because I was so desperate for NBA basketball. And the Lakers were ahead at halftime. You're like, oh, okay. The Hornets in the second half of that game, there's a clip going around on Twitter I retweeted the other day. If you find it, it's great. The second half of that game, the Hornets, especially the fourth quarter, just went after Luka Doncic every single play. They called Luka up into the pick and roll, got the switch, and just went one-on-one against Luka. And the Lakers don't have anyone on the back end to help on these plays anymore. Jackson Hayes is their best center, right? LeBron's back there sometimes trying to help out, but that's it. So they got Luka in there, and it was just like going around a turnstile. They're just going to the basket every single time. I was kind of watching the end of that Blazers game last night to see if they would do the same thing. I don't know if they just didn't have time to scout it or what. They didn't. But there seems to be a clear way of kind of making the Lakers be at least in a part where they're not comfortable and they don't know what to do when Luka's on the ball, because that's not it. And Dallas had enough defenders behind him that they could kind of cover for that, right? They had all these centers and wing defenders, 3-and-D guys. They could switch everything. The Lakers can't do that. And I'm wondering, I said from the start, I understand, look, you got a chance to get 25-year-old Luka, you go get him. I get it. I don't understand how he plays with LeBron, and I don't understand the fit right now. And people are like, well, it's for when LeBron retires. LeBron's still one of the
just scored
5
40
best players in the
points.
league.
Yeah, no, I completely
he's not
agree with
retired.
that.
They just signed his son to a 4-year guaranteed contract. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. So now you got to figure out how they all play together. And I don't know what the answer to that is. I saw yesterday Brian Windhorst had a report that he was like, now the Lakers, they have to re-sign Luka. And he's never said he was going to re-sign with the Lakers. This all kind of got sprung on him. Now they're going to be desperate to make that happen. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I still, the fit of it still seems kind of odd to me.
And he doesn't play last night. He's still working his way back. He's played, at this point, 2 games since Christmas.
Yeah, he can't play the back-to-backs yet.
Yeah, so there's still growth to be had there. But I'm with you. I think the thing that has stood out the most is this assumption of torches being passed. This is Luka Doncic, the future of the franchise. But you still have LeBron James, one of the greatest of all time, who is putting up 40 points at the age of 40. He's not ready to pass that torch yet. So it really is a double-engine system. Do they have enough behind that double-engine system to actually make a push?
They have enough junk in the trunk.
Exactly. You said it. What a beautiful way to end. Lang, thanks for joining us on this here
Can
Friday.
we get Andre 3000 in the Garden of American Heroes?
Another flute album.
I feel like we should, that should be like
who would
our
be your,
generation's
okay, you
push.
can pick one American to go in the Garden of Heroes. Who is it?
Andrew Jones. Wait, he's from Curacao. Deion Sanders.
What? Okay.
That's a good one.
I bet he'll make it.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Nat Turner. Let's go.
Okay.
How about Chuck D?
That's a good one also.
I'll take Cher. Yeah, she should be in it.
She would pick
Yeah,
Cher.
I would pick Cher. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You'd probably pick some Broadway person. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Audra McDonald.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
No! Oh God! I'd take Patti LuPone. How dare you put Andrew Lloyd Webber on it?
He's
I would
not
take
even
Patti
American.
LuPone. I would take Bernadette Peters. I would take Audra McDonald. I would take Kelly O'Hara. Those are my leading ladies of the musical theater world.
Okay.
On first thought. Gotta at least put one of them in there. I don't know. They probably wouldn't go into it. They're all mad about the Kennedy Center.
Oh yeah, I know.
So there's some fighting and push and pull in that
I
situation.
don't know if you have a choice if you want to go into it or not.
You just get put in the Garden of
They're making
Heroes.
a statue of you.
Instead
Nothing you can do about it.
Instead of Turner, Huey P. Newton.
All right.
That's a good one. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Some other news from the NBA yesterday. Victor Wembanyama is out for the rest of the season. What that means for him, the Spurs, what it means for the Defensive Player of the Year race. Talk about some other stories from the sports world as well when we come back.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping. It's gonna be crazy. The fans are gonna be loud. We need just energy.
We're gonna need, the Forum rocking. We're gonna need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane three, yes sir! Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
Memphis Cat is back with his Heaven on Earth tour.
I tried to be incognito, but thanks to Shannon Sharp's loud mouth, the gig is up.
February 22nd in the FedEx Forum.
In my spare time, I infiltrate the Illuminati, look for their secrets, run back, tell y'all.
Don't miss this year's most talked about comedy icon live. He's back with brand new material, an unmatched wit, and an electrifying performance. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
It's your turn to drive into luxury at Southland Casino Hotel. Join us on Saturdays to win your share of up to $1 million in free play and prizes. And don't miss the chance to take home luxury itself during the grand finale drawings. Drive off in a 2025 Land Rover on February 1st or a 2025 Range Rover on March 1st. 2 vehicles, 2 finales, 1 million ways to enjoy luxury only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Are you aware of the story of Larry Brown and John Calipari coming to see you at an AAU tournament?
I knew Coach Calipari was in the crowd. I had this incredible game. I had maybe 17 dunks in the first half or something. One of my guys was like, "Yeah, I think Coach Calipari was speaking with one of the NBA scouts, and they're saying, yeah, you're not gonna go to college, bro. You're going straight to the league." I was like, "That's the plan, but if I don't, I'll definitely want to go to Memphis," and that's how it went down.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We got Southern Heritage Classic news. Mike, Tennessee State out. Where do you think the Classic goes from here? Is this a thing that sort of dooms this Classic, Southern Heritage Classic?
I don't ever bet against Fred Jones. I don't count Fred Jones out. You have to have the event. You have to continue to have the weekend, and a football game has to be part of it.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Australian.
But the holy trinity of niceness, right?
And Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, that's the third one. So you go with those three.
Mr. Rogers didn't make the list. That's when you know the list is bunked.
Yeah. What if we did fictional characters?
Fictional characters in the American
Garden of Hero. Old Yeller? Old Yeller's getting in, isn't he? You've got 300.
If I had to take a dog, hot take, I think we give Yeller way too much credit. I think Balto is the ultimate American hero dog.
Is he American?
Yeah, he's Alaskan.
I thought Balto was Russian.
Alaska is a state. No, Balto is in Alaska with the Iditarod.
Okay.
He saved his owner.
Okay.
In a snowstorm.
Balto, and we keep, every time we do this about literary dogs, I bring up where the red fern
grows. Are we going to draft
grows.
literary dogs? I think we should draft literary dogs.
We can do it.
You piss people off with your SNL cast
I hadn't even looked at the comments
yet.
Oh my
God.
I need to. I bet it's a
They're
safe
like, is
place.
this rage bait? Is this rage bait?
I bet it's all the people I drafted are funny. F y'all. Y'all will be okay. Yeah, if you want to draft fictional dogs, we can do that. Does like Snoopy or
Snoopy,
literary
Pluto.
dog?
No, just any fictional dog.
Just any fictional dog. Haven't we done a fictional dog?
I don't think we've done a fictional dog draft. Is Goofy a dog?
Yeah. So is Pluto, which is odd.
Yeah, two dogs in the Disney system.
Pluto autistic or something like that? Like,
excuse me?
Goofy can walk and talk.
Why are you putting Pluto on the spectrum?
Goofy can walk on
Not that there's anything wrong with that. We're all on the spectrum.
And talk. Pluto can't.
Pluto's a domestic dog.
Okay.
Goofy is
a dog from the
he's just
streets.
Goofy.
Like I don't understand.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Oh, I would also take the dog from Oliver and Company.
Okay.
Did we draft dogs?
Did we draft
because
dogs?
Because now I'm thinking of Oliver and Company, and I've recently gone back. Or did we draft cats?
We definitely drafted.
We drafted cats. That's the key, I think.
Okay.
Maybe. Oh God, it all blends together. What a life we live.
And
hey, I did have a question for you because I didn't want to
answer.
keep you out of the conversation. And as the ambassador to DE Ice, as I'm naming you, were you moved by the Four Nations Faceoff?
No,
Did you watch any of it?
Not
of it.
at all.
And I think that's fine.
Not at all. I don't. I understand everybody's really, really excited about it. I understand that this is a better way of doing some sort of all-star thing than an actual all-star game.
Yes.
I understand that. I can appreciate that. But no, I couldn't find it in me to care about it. Now, if you want to fix all-star weekend NBA, you don't have to do USA versus the world. You can you can do the world. You can absolutely have the world. But split the players into regions. Right, that's how college football works.
It's true.
That regional pride hit just the same way as the national pride as well. So you do a southeastern region, do a midwestern region, do a western region, do the world. Call it a day.
I did think you could be motivated by like the image of the Canadians celebrating, and it's the Canadian flag and all of the Canada graphics, and it's Canadians celebrating on American soil at TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts, and that is nothing but the maple leaf flag itself hanging. That's solid motivation. Like that hits harder than
Can you imagine
other things that have been construed. Fake rivalries will never match seeing that because of how we have deemed like patriotism and nationalism to some degree.
The southeastern region of the NBA Cup face-off, whatever the hell you want to call it. They win in DC and you get that picture with the Confederate flag up,
You'd
that
have
would
to
be
do it-
incredible.
CJ. What? I was gonna say you could do SEC in like Big Ten country.
That might work.
I can't trust you ever. I was like, yeah, correct. And then you're like, and that. And I'm like, God bless every time. Yesterday was such a weird sports news day outside of all of the energy for Four Nations Faceoff. And just before we completely move off that, Justin Trudeau did tweet, you can't take our country and you can't take our game.
He better shut his filthy mouth before he gets hit with
Don't
another
say that.
tariff.
Okay, tariffs are... We can all disagree on tariffs, but the 51st state thing has gotten out of control with the flippancy of which we are talking about it. Annexation by force, by economic force, is not funny.
It's not the first time we've done it.
It's not funny. Yeah, but
It's
it
the
feels a
first
hell
time-
of a lot realer than in other opportunities.
It's the first time we've done it with the white nation, but like we do this.
Not to force to be, Puerto Rico. But they weren't a state.
Because we don't want them to be one.
Exactly.
Like
That's
we'll
why,
take
okay,
you.
if you want to,
Guam isn't a
I'm not
state
gonna get into
either.
this.
Like we
Remind me to talk to you about my
we're-
theories on this.
Yeah, we've always been an empire. We just don't think of ourselves that way because we don't really consider all the territories we have as actual things that we have, even though we actually have them. Then we just take Hawaii.
Yeah.
Like we just rolled up on Hawaii, went to their ruler and said, "Hey,
They're still not
Queen,
thrilled about
you're mine now. Like you're ours." So we've done this, just not to anybody white again. Like that's what's crazy about this. We got to stop this white on white aggression.
And it was a territory versus a ally to the north, a country that has fought alongside during. I have a lot of friends in, not a lot, but I have a handful of friends in Canada, and I think that's what has stunned them the most is the easiness of propaganda of turning it into a joke when this is their country that we're talking about and joking about. And if there is one thing that Canadians are prideful on, it is they are nice and they're not the United States of America. They're cool being the ally to the north, but they've never wanted to be a part of it. The polls, go look at any opinion poll out of Canada on if they want to be the 51st state. The answer is no. And
Nobody
that should,
wants to be absorbed and taken
Precisely.
over. Nobody does.
All right, let's talk about the other big sports news from yesterday before I go fully off the rails and crash out like you had in the chat question of the day.
You answered. Real quick.
Yes.
2 years. This thing is going to happen again.
Yes.
Is it going to have the same energy
No.
behind it? Because it feels, to me.
Unless things have
To me.
escalated on an international scale, then
That's-
sure. And if Russia is able to compete in it, because is Russia able to compete in the next Olympics? No, I don't think they are, and I don't think there's any potential of movement on that until the war is over.
Invading
Correct.
Ukraine. Yeah.
But if you were 2 years from now to throw that into the mix, because they
2 years from now, he'll still be in office doing stuff. So
Sure.
maybe. So
Yeah.
I guess 4 years.
I think it
from
could still have
now. Okay.
legs.
All right.
But you'd have to have an added juice to it. Because like Lang said, I don't think this moved the needle for a whole lot of people to go search for a hockey team to root for if you don't already have one. And I've talked about this on the show. I get into playoff hockey. I'm not appointment viewing playoff hockey. I am casually viewing playoff hockey. I will watch the Stanley Cup Finals. I will cheer for the Colorado Avalanche. I do not follow that team religiously like I did when I was a kid. And that's just the nature of sports for me at the moment. And I think that falls for a lot of people, which is a fair thing to say because it's not the most watched sport in the U.S. You have football, you have basketball, and then you have this room of baseball and hockey. And baseball is still more watched than hockey in this country, even with the dips that it's taken. Other weird sports news from yesterday, and I did think it was so indicative on how luck can change in an instant. We started with the morning news of Bobby Portis being suspended 25 games by the NBA for using a banned substance, and we didn't immediately know what the banned substance was. It turns out that it's tramadol, which is not Toradol. He thought he was taking Toradol, according to his representative. He was taking tramadol. I can't believe that tramadol is a banned substance in the NBA. I didn't go to pharmacy school, CJ, so correct me if I'm wrong, but tramadol is not a high-level opioid painkiller. It is more in the, I'd call it a casual mid-painkiller. They gave me tramadol after my Achilles surgery, and I was calling them, crying, screaming my head off, asking for something greater because it did not help whatsoever. So apparently Bobby Portis, according to his representative, took it accidentally, so it doesn't even matter what it was. It was an accident on his part. He was trying to take Toradol, which is an allowed substance for pain killing in the NBA. They're not going to fight the suspension. He's going to ride the 25-game suspension. But for the Bucks, who are 5th in the East, how quickly you take out your 6th Man of the Year candidate, someone who's top 6 in scoring and rebounding off the bench, that's a big loss. And he's one of their biggest energy guys. All because you thought you were taking Toradol and you took Tramadol. And yet we still have players in this league who have beat up on their girlfriends on camera and have either gotten lesser suspensions or no suspensions. Sorry.
You are in a mood.
I'm in a big mood.
You're in a mood.
I'm in a mood. I'm sorry.
Thank you for apologizing.
I'm so sorry. I feel like I have to because we obviously don't care.
You kind of said it, not me. I flunked out of pharmacy school for a reason, Jessica. I don't really know the difference between these two substances at all. So
I met someone else who flunked out of pharmacy school
Turn up.
yesterday.
Did they do it twice?
Yeah. No, just once.
Okay.
And I made the joke. I
They
said,
were way smarter than me.
My other
then.
friend flunked out twice.
Friend.
Coworker.
You-
Sorry. I'm so
thank you.
sorry. Got too comfortable there.
Yeah, you did. So I'm curious to know now why one is banned and the other one is fine. Like, what do you think is going on here? Unless it's tied to some type of performance enhancement, where I don't think that from a medchem standpoint, I don't think that it can be used as like a diuretic or anything like that. I'm not sure. But as long as it's not that, I don't really understand why one would be legal and the other one illegal. And the reason why you can get away.
I thought Toradol was higher than Tramadol.
Yeah, the reason why you can get away with obliterating your girlfriend on camera is because that doesn't question the integrity of the game. That just questions the values and the ethics that individual and others in the game have. But we can still bet on it confidently, right? Nobody's going to say, he threw that game because he punched his girlfriend. Like that game was rigged because this. They will say that game was rigged because this player was on the juice or something like that. So that's why.
Or was making bets for himself or his team.
I forgot
That's when
about
it said he was suspended 25. That's such a testament to where we're at as like a sports viewing society. Is I saw 25-game suspension before I saw banned substance, and I assumed it was another betting scandal related. Sorry, Bobby Portis. My bad. But that would be anyone if it came out, player X is suspended for 25 games. They must have been involved in a betting scandal.
Immediately.
That's the first place my brain goes now. Not performance-enhancing substance, betting scandal, and certainly not domestic violence.
Yeah, no. Suit up, baby. You
Then,
gotta play.
after Bobby Portis, you know it's real when my husband texts me to check my Twitter DMs. I'm not sure why he wouldn't just send the tweet in the text, but instead he says, oh my God, check your Twitter DMs. But I also get Shams Charania notifications, so I'm already up on it. Victor Wembanyama is missing the rest of the season, and we find out that it's due to a deep vein thrombosis, a DVT, on his right shoulder, which is a blood clot. They caught it, which is great, before it developed into a pulmonary embolism, which is always the concern with DVTs. People hear blood clot and they go, oh my God, Chris Bosh, is this the end of his career? Major difference. Chris Bosh had a pulmonary embolism. So that's when the blood clot travels to the lungs, and that can be deadly. We have seen other players deal with DVTs, with blood clots that did not turn into pulmonary embolisms, like Brandon Miller, who returned to play. Asir Thompson returned to play this year. The year that Brandon Miller had it, he missed the rest of the season. It is just such a bummer to lose Victor Wembanyama in the middle of his second season, and it's just a reminder of things can really change in an instant. Health, suspensions, if you're in a run for the playoffs, and the Spurs, it was going to be an uphill climb to get into that play-in tournament, but with the addition of De'Aaron Fox and how that team was gelling together, they certainly had a chance of making a run and finding their way into the postseason. And every postseason rep is important for the evolution of Victor Wembanyama, who is the most hyped prospect that we have ever had, and now he's out. And one of the big bummers for him is he won't be able to win Defensive Player of the Year because he won't reach the minimum games. And that opens up the opportunity for Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr. is now the odds-on favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. It would have 100% been Victor Wembanyama. His defensive metrics are remarkable for his age. They are crazy. I wonder if this will be one of the things that gets the how many games played rule altered. There has been talk of that this season with other players not being eligible for those postseason awards, and they matter. They matter for your money. But this year, we could have two-time Defensive Player of the Year, Jaren Jackson Jr. It's a potential. There's still season to be played. Yes, CJ, you are opening the third eye.
It is open now.
Oh.
I feel like this has happened to this franchise before. I feel like franchise was in a good, not great place, but a good place. And then David Robinson went down injured. And they got the #1 overall draft pick.
Shut up.
And they took Tim Duncan. I feel like the eye's open. I feel like they're finna get Cooper Flagg.
They're only getting Cooper Flagg through the Hawks.
No, they can get it through the
Do they own their
yes.
pick this year?
Yeah. Why wouldn't they own their pick?
Yeah.
The Spurs aren't out here trying to buy championships.
They own all of their
and
first-round
selling
picks
their
from
soul for the
2025 to
potential.
2031.
Yeah, they've got their picks. I want to do Tankathon right now just to see.
God.
Just to see. Spurs are gonna get them, Jessica.
Okay. I'm going to counter as the sane non-third eye opener on this show. I'm so grateful that Victor Wembanyama works in a profession where they were able to catch this DVT. He said he had been tired. My guy played through the All-Star weekend with a blood clot. LeBron James didn't. We're already going to start it. LeBron James didn't play at the age of 40 because he had some foot soreness. Victor Wembanyama played with a blood clot.
Clip it, Luke. Jessica saying Victor Wembanyama already better than LeBron James all time.
Are we starting a new GOAT conversation? Are we already starting a new GOAT conversation? No championships have been won, no playoff appearances, and Victor Wembanyama has played a season and a half and won't finish 2. But is he the greatest?
They both almost have a Defensive Player of the Year award.
Almost.
They both almost.
You're correct.
They both almost have a
You're
Defensive
correct. So
Player
we're
of the
going
Year
to start
award.
the
LeBron
categorization
almost
now.
in 2014, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And Wemby now.
And now we'll remember Victor Wembanyama almost had a Defensive Player of the Year award. No.
Hey.
Get that off my screen right now.
Hey, it's happened before. We know the NBA allegedly into some shady dealings.
No.
I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
Give the Hornets a chance. Give the Jazz a chance. Give the Wizards a chance to dream.
Why would I
give Marcus Smart and Chris Middleton a chance
Why
to
would I
dream?
give any of them a chance?
Listen,
to dream.
I'm
They've
serious.
had top picks
This
and
is
they
a chance-
waste them all the time.
This is a chance for awareness on DVTs, though, because they can literally kill you, as opposed to figuratively killing you. No, I had a girl that I grew up with who had an undiagnosed DVT, and she had a pulmonary embolism, and she died. She was 32 years old, and I'm sorry, it was really sad.
Yeah, why are you making me sad also?
Because I thought that was where my brain first went was, wow, how fantastic that we didn't lose Victor Wembanyama. Can you imagine? Exactly. So I'm grateful they caught it. He is expected to make a return. It should not be a career-ending situation for Victor Wembanyama, which is wonderful. And truly, he's been one of the spotlights of that Quarter Gold documentary thus far. Just the cerebral nature of Victor Wembanyama at this age is something that is very special, and I look forward to seeing him play again soon. But chalk that Grizzlies Spurs game up to a win, CJ. When they're chasing the 40-20, wasn't the Spurs game the last game on the quest of 40-20?
It was in there.
I think it's the last one, and I already called it a win because the Grizzlies have had no sincere issues with the Spurs yet this season. But now you won't be able to watch Victor Wembanyama, which is a bummer because he has become one of the big shows of the NBA. Hey, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do some Music Friday. We'll also quickly get into the crazy story about the burglaries that have been happening in professional athletes' homes. And yesterday, a theft group was charged with some of those, and it includes a theft on one and only John Morant right here in Memphis. We'll get into that when we come back.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Morant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing at FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
At the National Civil Rights Museum, history moves us forward. The question remains, how does history move you?
Keep on talking, marching up to freedom now.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
We did get a new shoe that dropped today that we should all be able to get if we want it.
Fire.
And it's been one people have been waiting for a long, long time.
Yep.
Asia Wilson. What do you guys think about the shoe?
I love it.
It looks great. We see people wearing Jaws. We see a lot of people wearing the GT line, but then also we see a lot of NBA players wearing the Sabrinas.
Sabrina, yeah.
I bet you there's gonna be a lot of NBA players wearing that.
I agree with you on that.
Oh, yeah.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app. Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
This team is doing everything that Taylor Jenkins and his coaching staff envisioned it could do.
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Take it back. We gotta get the drop on here.
Hands up, 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 hands up.
Let me hear the beat drop.
I can only feel the music through CJ.
What did you do?
Fix this. I beat the beat too hard.
You beat the beat too hard.
The beat too hard.
Damn.
That's what you call it.
How hard? How did you wrap it all the way around the chair?
I literally just explained it to you. I beat the beat too hard.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
That was Chris's mating dance. Beating the beat.
Beating the beat? Jessica.
I know.
Come on, man.
He's a big beat the beat guy.
So, poor Chris.
Be normal.
Poor Chris.
Be normal.
You're talking about him beating the beat?
Yeah,
you were
when the
talking
beat
about
drops.
his inability to pull the key out
When the
other
beat
day?
drops. It happened to me yesterday.
Oh my God.
Joke's on me. We're not using that door anymore. My key got stuck for like 5 minutes.
Ooh.
Oh, it was so cold again. Yeah. And then I understood why he was so angry when it happened to him, because you finally get home and you're so excited to get inside and be warm, and your key gets stuck in the door. I broke my, this completely broke off. I had to like restructure it because it snapped in half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tough.
And that's what you missed on Glee.
We should do more dance breaks as grown-ups also. Put
We
that
should.
on the,
Add
put that on the list. Yeah.
Naps, recess, dance breaks, team moms.
Team moms.
What was the first thing that started this
I think
conversation?
Team Mom started.
Shirley Temple.
Shirley
No, it
Temples.
was Tyrese Halliburton drinking a Shirley Temple.
I saw They're trying to make this Shirley Temple kid a thing. Has he come across your social media yet?
No.
He's on the news.
He's on the news?
I saw him on like the ABC early morning show, the NBC morning show. I forget which one it was. But there's some Shirley Temple kid that is making his rounds, and he just goes around drinking Shirley Temples on TikTok, and people love it. I don't.
Is he the 11-year-old critic of Shirley Temples? Wait,
yes.
the article on the New York Times is, should people take the opinions of kids and teens seriously? An 11-year-old critic of Shirley Temples has the power to change restaurant menus with his reviews. What should people listen to you about? That's incredible.
Jalen downstairs says he's the Keith Lee of Shirley Temples.
Oh my God, no, he is.
Yeah.
His name is Luke Fortnoy.
How this kid is allowed to become a thing is beyond me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Luke is the writer. The kid is Leo Kelly.
Okay.
11-year-old beverage critic who has the power to change restaurants.
The only beverage he's critiquing
The only beverage he
is
critiques
Shirley
is
Temples.
a good old ST.
Wow. It's all the same.
Restaurants have changed stuff after poor reviews from Leo.
Okay.
He'll sometimes critique the color and carbonation. Sometimes he thinks the grenadine tasted off or counted 1.5 cherries instead of a full 2.
I'll be damned if I let that child tell me what to do with my Shirley Temple.
I love it. This is like a critical thinking piece where it comes out of it says, what do you think of Leo's Shirley Temple reviews? Does it surprise you that these restaurants take his critique seriously? Have you ever posted a review online, whether for a restaurant meal, a movie, a product, or something else? Do you think the opinions of children and teenagers should be taken seriously?
No, they shouldn't.
To be fair, nobody knows a good Shirley Temple better than a kid, though. Like I am out of practice. I haven't had
Shirley Temple is still good.
No, I would have one Shirley Temple today, and I'd be like, oh my God, this is literally God blessing my taste buds with the Shirley Temple. But I wouldn't have anything to compare it to because I haven't had a non-alcoholic Shirley Temple since childhood. Leo is out here slinging and slanging Shirley Temples left and right. Am I an alcoholic?
Jalen, shut up. Don't listen to Jalen. He is a legitimate alcoholic.
I know he had to do 75 hard.
Yeah, like I'm not listening to him. Listen, anytime a Shirley Temple hits my tongue, anytime Shirley Temple hits my tongue,
I
it's a
should
good
clarify,
day.
I haven't had an alcoholic Shirley Temple since I was in college. I haven't had anything Shirley Temple related in my adult life, and that is something to be
this
amended.
Weekend, get a Shirley Temple.
I think I'm going to.
Get a Shirley Temple. Everybody out there, we're going to get Shirley Temples this weekend.
Shirley Temples.
We're going to get Shirley.
Naps, recess, dance breaks, team moms.
Field trips.
Like
actual, like multiple companies going to the same place. Like,
but transportation has to be provided.
Lunch also.
Lunch has to be provided, and you miss work for it.
Yes.
And you're not you don't have to do extra work because you made up for it.
One of the cool things that this company does is like we'll go on like company trips from time to time where, all right, the hustle playing the day game, everybody go down to Landers. And you get to go down there and hang out with your coworkers. But it's just this company. So recently, everybody went to the Stax Museum. But it's just this company. I want this company and AutoZone and FedEx and Youth Villages. Like, I want all of the companies to be at the Memphis Zoo one day for a field trip. So you can walk up to your friends who work other places and be like, yo, let me show you the people who I have to deal with on a daily basis.
Incredible.
Adult field trips is on the list.
Yeah, I would add that. All right, real quick, just because we teased it, so I feel like we have to at least mention it. But 7 men were charged in connection with burglaries of professional athletes' homes. Federal prosecutors in Tampa on Tuesday charged 7 purported members of a South American theft group that allegedly targeted the homes of Kansas City Chiefs stars Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, along with other professional athletes in the area. They targeted the homes of athletes in the NFL and NBA while they were away or playing games at the time. The defendants are accused of stealing valuables worth more than $2 million.
That picture?
Yes.
They stole that from Bobby Portis' spot. They posed with it online, and one of those cases has his championship ring in it.
So you're telling me Bobby Portis gets knocked
That's
for
what I missed the Bobby
tramadol
Portis. Yep.
And lost his championship ring, but I assume, has it been recovered?
I don't know. I know that they've got the 7. I don't know who in the gang has it.
Well, yeah, and eventually things get sold off.
Yeah,
usually.
and I hadn't seen anybody say, okay, Bobby Portis does have his championship.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is wild. This theft group, though, this comes out, and I'm reading through, and it turns out that one of the people included in it was Ja Morant. and that he was targeted in December of 2024 while the Grizzlies were playing the Golden State Warriors. They were home, but he was obviously away at the game, and they stole jewelry, watches, and luxury bags valued at $1 million. Just a crazy situation. And you think about these people with so much money and large homes and things to be stolen, but these thieves have figured out a system to beat security, to beat timelines, and I just hate that we live in a world where you have to think about security 24/7. I don't have millions of dollars of things to be stolen, but I do always get a little unnecessarily nervous when I leave for something. Like, oh, what if this is the time that someone decides to figure out where I live and steals my TV? I think the biggest thing someone could steal would be my TV, and I would be devastated by it because it was an investment on our part.
You don't have any jewelry? Well,
I travel with my jewelry.
Let's not get into
no,
all
I
of that.
literally travel with my jewelry.
Okay.
Well, don't kill me now. I go with it. Yeah, let's not get into the ebbs and
into it.
flows
I'm
of
sorry.
decisions
I
that we
apologize for
make. But my most expensive thing is on my hand, so you'd have to chop off my finger. So I'm really giving it away. Actually, the most expensive thing I wear is my brain.
Oh, you're a woman. You don't have one
And
of
my
those.
teeth.
Okay. Well, the teeth thing might be
But you
right.
couldn't get value from my teeth. They're not gold. They're just cost
teeth?
a lot of money.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Isn't this what happened to Sean Taylor?
Yeah.
A home burglary?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's scary anytime anybody has to deal with these sorts of things. Let's be clear about that. But we're talking about athletes in particular right now. You don't want one of these things to turn wrong, go sideways for anybody. And with one of these high-profile people, it very well could have had they gotten their intel wrong and not realized that Travis Kelce is on the injury report and he's going to be home on Sunday instead of at the stadium or on the road. So I'm glad they got him. And I hope this nips everything else in the butt. And they hit high-profile Patrick Mahomes, Kelce, Ja, Bobby Portis. These are high-profile people they hit.
And I can't remember exactly who the celebrity victims were, but it reminds me of there was a string of thefts that ended up turning into a movie called The Bling Ring. And it was teens who were tracking celebrities, and it was teen girls tracking celebrities' whereabouts via Instagram. And when social media really started first popping off and people realized, oh, I can figure out where someone is at any given time and then I can go to their home and rob them. And there was kind of a glorification of it because it's rich people. And then they almost became, they're not Robin Hoods because they're not stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. They're stealing from the rich and keeping it for themselves. But it was always kind of the ethical level of why are you giving these people attention? I don't think we do that anymore, but it is interesting that going from doing celebrities of movie star, singer status, heiresses, I think Paris Hilton was involved in it, to now being like, oh, well, we know when these athletes are somewhere because we literally have their schedules available at any given time. But I would assume all security will be boosted for a bunch of these athletes.
Pretty sure that
and they
happened.
already have crazy security.
Yeah, pretty sure that happened to Calkins also.
Really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. If I remember the story correctly.
If you're a burglar out there, I just want you to know, my place is like Fort Knox. I can't even get my key out of the door myself.
If you're a burglar out there, I just want you to know, yes, we are really that destitute and poor. I'm sorry. I wish I had more for you, dog. I'm sorry.
Leave cookies out.
If you could put food in my fridge is so empty right now. If you could put food in my fridge, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we're at the end of the road. I think I have 2 string cheeses and a protein bar.
I know a burglar's going through my house. It's like, oh my gosh, how many Ninja Turtle t-shirts does this guy have? Does he have anything else that we can take?
Anything of value.
No.
They're going through my house. They're saying, God, does she really just throw her contact lenses on the ground when she goes to bed at night and her husband hates her for it?
Why are there so many fingernails on the ground?
Why are there so many fake eyelashes, fingernail particles, and contact lenses on the ground?
Who leaves their dirty underwear in the kitchen?
Oh, couldn't be me. I'm sorry. My laundry is right next to the kitchen. It's on one platform. It's not my fault. It's structural. It's by design. All right. Let's do some Music Friday.
Oh, God.
Did you enjoy the Drake album?
No.
Me neither.
No. I will say, I hadn't been able to stop listening to Nokia since I heard it. I listened to Nokia like 3 times.
It's the only one that I downloaded off the album.
I love Nokia.
We started listening to the album when we were in Chattanooga and we were going on one of our long extended hikes, and we got maybe like 9 songs in, and Chris just goes, "Can we stop?" And I said, "Yes, we can stop. We can rest now." Went back and listened to the rest of it. Nokia's good. I hate, hot take, because a lot of people, this is the one song they love. I hate Give Me a Hug. I hate Give Me a Hug so much. And if I were Drake or somebody who is being accused of being a creep, the last song I'm writing is Give Me a Hug, because that is the unofficial statement of all creeps in this world. As a girl, you don't understand. When a man tells me, when a man that I barely know says, "Give me a hug," that's how it makes me feel, and other women too. And I get that he's asking the hoes for the hugs, and like they're paid to give the hugs.
Literally, like it's the transactional nature of love, not the big brainness too much, but it is. I think he knows. Hey, it's creepy when a dude says it, and I know what people are saying about me. They're saying I look like a give me a hug type ass dude, right? Like, but I can go here to the strip club and probably a brothel, right? Like I can go here, be around the strippers and the prostitutes, and be like, "Give me a hug," and they'd love to give me a hug. The way that song starts, to me, the more I listen to that song, the more it feels like multiple people are talking in that song. Like it's a dialogue between him and a call girl, lady worker, whatever we calling them these days. Feels like it's a conversation between him and her. Where at the start of the song, it is so very much, "Drake, you're the best. Drake, you're killing it. Drake, you inspire so many people." And it's like, I don't think Drake is saying that about himself. I think somebody is saying that to him just to feed his ego, so he'll throw more money at them.
I think Give Me a Hug is a worse song than Fat, Juicy, and Wet. There, I said it. I would rather listen to Fat, Juicy, and Wet 10 times than listen to Give Me a Hug one more time.
I didn't tell you this. Sunday, I was looking up something on YouTube, and I don't know what I can't remember what exactly it was, but my wife gasped. She was like, "Oh, thank God. I thought you were finna play Fat, Juicy, and Wet." I was like, "No, never."
Chris heard the radio edit yesterday. He said it was like the most... He doesn't understand why they're even trying to play it on the radio, but my favorite part was it's money on my head, money on my chest, money on my money with my big money friends.
Really?
Instead of middies.
Really?
I can't wait for the Kids Bop version.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be so good.
That Kids Bop version, what are you even going to call it? Because I don't think you want to call anything Fat, Juicy, or Wet for the children.
Like an orange?
You think they're going to make it about oranges?
Citrus on my head, citrus on my neck, citrus on my citrus. With my big citrus friends. What else is Fat, Juicy, and Wet that's not inappropriate?
You can't make it fat. That's what I'm saying. You have to change it from Fat, Juicy, and Wet.
Okay, you talk about the transaction of Give Me a Hug, though.
Yeah.
Drake has become this, like, ask and you shall receive. And there's a picture of his latest concert in Australia, and I think this is one of the most dystopian images that I've ever seen, which is really saying something, because I see this is one of the most dystopian images that I've ever seen. I saw Grimes begging Elon Musk to answer her calls about some medical condition for their child on X yesterday, and was like, oh my God.
She better shut the hell up before he cuts her job.
But this is Drake, and all these people in the crowd made signs.
Can you read some of them? I can't see them.
Oh, I will read them for you.
Yeah,
but I have to also pull up the closer one because my eyes aren't good either. Help me buy an engagement ring.
That's on a sign?
Need a bachelorette party in Ibiza. That's a luxury. Poppy, help pay off my mom's mortgage.
Those are signs?
Help him buy me a Birkin bag. Help my dad find peace.
Those are signs?
Yes. It's all these people asking this rich-ass man to give them... Drake, give my father a break.
Let's pull Give Me a Hug back some more. Everybody saying Drake's dead. Everybody saying Kendrick bodied them on the beef. Everybody saying Drake can't show his face out in public unless Drake is going to do this. Unless Drake is going to pay me. Unless Drake is going to give me money. Right? Listen. Also, it's just a turn-up song. I don't want to make it any deeper than what it is.
No, it's literally just a turn-up song. I just hate the phrase "Give me a hug."
It may be like, hey, there's a transaction that comes with me being what I am. I'm never really dead. I'm never really gone. I'm never going through a drought because I have the finances to just throw at people, and I can buy love. I can buy adoration. I can buy your
Gross.
appreciation. And
Yucky.
might be gross, might be yucky, but it's definitely the truth.
My favorite comment I saw was somebody who said they don't listen to posthumous albums, so they won't be listening to Drake's.
That's a good one. If and we talked about it, there are 21 tracks, which is like 11 or 12 too many, because everything sounds exactly the same except for Give Me a Hug. Also love the use of the guy's song in the background. If you hadn't seen that I Miss You music video, one of the saddest music videos I've ever seen. Give Me a Hug, Nokia, Padre, and Celibacy, right? Outside of those four, everything sounds the same, and that's my biggest problem with it. With Party Next Door and Drake collabing, it's like, okay, cool. The cool thing about getting artists to collab is you bring your style, I bring my style, and we sort of mix them together in a way that's really cool and unique. But it feels like they're just the same.
Yes.
There's not enough difference on the album for me. Also, like we're doing the beat switch thing a little too much on the album. We need to cut that all the way back. I say that. And Give Me a Hug has that, and Nokia has that.
No,
But those are good. Those are great.
But I don't need it on every song.
Not on every song.
And my thing, this carries over into everything is bloated right now. And at some point, we have to bring the edit button back. We have to bring the art of editing back as a nation, because we cannot keep making 3.5-hour movies. We cannot make 75-minute albums. We cannot make 6-part docuseries. And I don't care how good Court of Gold is, and it is excellent. I don't need a 6-part docuseries. Docuseries, I prefer them to be 4 maximum. I will give you 5. But the director of it even went out and said, we didn't cut anything entertaining. Part of editing is the pain and agony of having to cut something that is still entertaining, but helps you tighten up the product to make it more enjoyable overall and easier to watch, an album to be easier to listen, a movie to be easier to watch. I still haven't watched The Brutalist because I don't have 3.5 hours to watch one of the nominations for Best Picture this year. And you want to know what? I might free myself from it. I might not watch it. And I love movies, and I love watching every movie nominated for an Academy Award, but I don't have time anymore, and I don't want to listen to a 75-minute Drake album. That goes for everyone except for Beyonce. Cowboy Carter, you can exist.
Right, if it's good, but it's got to be.
But that's why I liked the cinematic
good.
nature of Cowboy Carter. Like, it swept me into a different world. And when I go back and re-listen, I don't listen to all the interludes. I listen to the songs I like. But if I can't get through it the first time, the key is it has to be good enough to get me through it the first time, where I'm then able to go and pick out what I like. But sitting for a movie, and I know that Brutalist has an intermission if you go see it in theaters, but I don't want movies that are so long you need an intermission, because when does it end? We're gonna have a 4-hour movie.
We've already made those, didn't we?
I don't think so.
Yeah, what's the one with the old timey movie, the people on the plains? Is it not Little House on the Prairie? What's the other one?
I'm sorry, what?
The old timey movie, people on the plains. Wait, no, maybe it was an antebellum movie.
Gone with the Wind? I think that's in the 3-hour range.
Okay, all right.
Let's see. How long is Gone with the Wind?
I think Gone with the Wind.
3:58. So they kept it under 4. They kept it under 4. The Brutalist runtime is 3:35. That's too damn long.
All right.
It's too damn long.
Okay.
I did listen to one album while I was getting ready this morning. Mike Posner has a new album. If you remember Mike Posner of Cooler Than Me, Took a Pill in Ibiza. He has such an interesting life story, and he's been very open about how when he was at his peak, he was at his worst, and kind of the shallow nature of the industry and finding all the success, but what does it mean? He's kind of turned into like a self-help guru type on social media.
Did you send me a clip of him?
Yes.
Okay.
Of him talking about that?
Yes, of him talking about being shelved.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I have found him so interesting. Recently, I guess it was pre-pandemic, but he walked across the entire United States of America after his dad died. And at one point, he was bit by a rattlesnake and hospitalized and had to rehab. Like, he almost died after being bit by a rattlesnake. I don't know if he went to the Pit, but the Pit would absolutely be qualified to handle a rattlesnake bite. I just want to be clear. If I have a medical emergency at this point, I'm getting in the car, I'm driving to Pittsburgh, and I'm going to the Pit. It is the only ER that I want to be seen in at this point. Anyway, he dropped a new album this morning. I listened to it while I was getting ready. It's really vibey. I cannot tell if I actually like the album or if I just always really liked the sound of Mike Posner, and this takes me back to that sound. I'm going to have to give it another listen. I thought it was pretty good. Some of the lyrics are a little corny, I'm going to be honest, but from a beat standpoint and from a feel standpoint, I recommend the new Mike Posner album.
He did, Baby, Please Don't Go.
If I wake up tomorrow, will you still be here? I don't know.
If you're feeling the way I do, if you leave, I'm gonna find you. You ever stop and think about that? If you leave, I'm gonna find you.
CJ, I just told you that I thought Black Widow originally was Black Lil Baby, okay?
You didn't have to tell the people that. I was content to let that go.
I have no
secrets. So Black Widow, Katy Perry's Black Widow.
Well, it's not just Katy Perry, isn't it?
Who else is on Black Widow? It's Katy Perry's song.
No, it's not. It's Iggy Azalea's song.
I'm sorry, I got my white women mixed up. I apologize.
It's Iggy and Rita Ora.
Okay, so you in that
Katy Perry is not on Black Widow.
Jessica, I apologized for mixing up my white women who were really popular in like 2012, 2013.
2014.
I'm sorry. Okay, you thought that song was saying Black Little Baby. And so you thought Iggy Azalea.
I'm gonna love you like a black little baby. Do 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 do. I am not alone.
Yes, you are.
No, there's a club of us who get these things wrong, and that was a common one.
Black History Month. Let's see.
Black History Month by, okay. Happy Black History Month, Iggy Azalea. Your song, Black Widow.
She's dated enough black
One
men.
of the greatest of all time. Also, Randall in the chat did point out, there is a Doechii song that didn't come up on any of the new music stuff for this week, which is interesting, but it's with Jenny. It's called Extra L. I've given it one listen. It's great. I'm at the point where I'll listen to anything Doechii puts out. So check that out. We'll be back on Monday. We got another Grizzlies game tonight. We are right back in the swing of things. We'll see if they can course correct from last night's second quarter disaster in Indiana. We will be back on Monday to talk about it all. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye.
Check out the last comment in the chat.
You have a 5-day pass.